The coffee scene in the greater Baton Rouge area has gotten stronger than a triple shot espresso over the past 10 years or so. And I'm not talking about the convenient coffee locations you can just drive through. I'm talking about the quality coffee spots you're gonna have to go into. You're probably gonna pay a little more per cup of coffee, but you're gonna get some prime quality coffee. So if you're thinking about moving to the greater Baton Rouge area and you're curious about our coffee scene, or you already live here and you just wanna up your coffee game, this video is for you. Speaking of triple shot espresso, I'm gonna share with you my personal top 3 coffee shops in the greater Baton Rouge area. And as a disclaimer, some of you coffee snobs out there, this may ruffle some feathers. You may disagree with what I have to say. However, it's my personal preference and I may not be a coffee snob, but I do know the difference between a quality cup of coffee and an average cup of coffee. And obviously there's way more than just 3 spots in Baton Rouge. So I am gonna give some honorable mentions towards the end, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get brewing. Before getting to the list, obviously I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. One of my goals is to showcase all that Baton Rouge has to offer, whether it's coffee or real estate or just certain areas and lifestyle. So we don't want you to miss out on those videos. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I want to hear back from you, but let's go ahead and get into it. Number 3, we have Magpie Cafe. Magpie is in my personal top 3, kind of for nostalgia reasons. It was one of the first coffee shops, quality coffee shops that I went to right out of college and really got the experience of, okay, this is more than just a Starbucks or CC's. And in my opinion, Magpie kind of paved the way for a lot of future coffee shops. It was one of our first quality coffee shops in the area. There was also a time where Magpie was kind of expanding pretty quick. They had kind of a pop-up kiosk location in Point Marie subdivision off River Road. They also built a beautiful space downtown and was open for a little bit, but had to shut that down. But they do still have, of course, the original location, which is located just before the Perkins overpass. You can kind of put it in that cluster, but off of Perkins. It sits in a really cute house that has a cool patio vibe if you want to do the outdoor thing. Inside has ample tables. It's a really cozy environment. So with it feeling cozy, it's a great spot if you want to be productive and set up and get some work done or study. It's also a great spot to meet people if you just want to catch up or some sort of appointment, but it kind of checks all those boxes. If I'm painting everything with a whole picture, of course I want to point out some cons or things that may not be your favorite with it, but depending on when you go, parking can be a little tough. If it's crowded, you may have to park a little down the street, but there's been plenty of times where I do have to walk a little bit, or I park in a spot where I'll just have to cross the fingers that I don't get towed. But obviously the coffee is great. They also have a good selection of pastries and food while you're there. If you're there and they have the Pop-Tarts, get one, you're not gonna regret it. Next up, coming in at number 2, we have Reve Coffee Lab. Reve actually originated in Lafayette, Louisiana. They've got a really cool location over there and I think a couple of pop-up spots, but they saw some opportunity in Baton Rouge and they seized their moment. When they first came to Baton Rouge, they were located in the White Star Market off of Government Street in Mid-City. It was a really cool food hall that is no longer there, RIP. But because of their growing popularity and their business was growing, they opened up their own retail location in the Village at Willow Grove, which is in front of the Willow Grove subdivision off of Perkins. It's a really cool spot that's honestly surrounded by a lot of options in terms of restaurants and shops and everything. It does kind of have a higher end feel, but it's cool nonetheless. Obviously, they have a great cup of coffee, but also have a great selection of pastries and food. They also have adult beverages, a seasonal adult beverage, so it's a good spot to kind of meet up before dinner or after dinner and hang out. The actual interior environment and vibe, it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of natural light. I won't say it's a corporate feel, but because of where it is, it definitely feels a little more higher end. There's a lot of young professionals that go there on maybe lunch breaks or before work and after work. So it's a little different demographic. So while they may not check the cozy box, it's still a cool vibe nonetheless, which brings me to my next point. If I had to come up with a con for Reve, I would say it gets a little busy, it gets a little crowded. Sometimes you're not able to find a spot to sit inside. You may have to sit outside in the heat. It's maybe not the best spot to go and study if you want kind of a productive and kind of a peaceful environment. But nonetheless, it's a great spot to meet and chat. And I promise you, if you go, you're probably gonna see someone you know. No matter what coffee shop I go to, I usually order a macchiato, a traditional macchiato. And I will say Reve has never messed it up. Go check it out. So before getting to our #1 spot, I want to point out that I often know a lot of these spots and a little more in depth of locations because I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor since 2011, and with coffee shops, obviously a little more expensive cup of coffee tends to be in an area that can support it. So the real estate around it is usually pretty great. So if you're curious about what the real estate looks like around these different coffee shops, there's gonna be some links in the description below. Go check it out, and I think you'll like what you see. And again, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if you're agreeing with all I'm saying or if you got some beef with me. But without further ado, let's hit #1. Coming in at #1 is Lighthouse Coffee. Now, I don't go to Lighthouse as much as I like to because I moved away from the area, but whenever I'm around it, I of course want to stop by. But I chose Lighthouse for 2 main reasons. One is that it originated in Baton Rouge. Everybody loves a good Baton Rouge startup. We want to support local. And 2, they've got a really great philanthropic vision. The owners are incredible people that love to give back, so they actually partner with local agencies that are needing refugees to be hired. So they intentionally hire refugees oftentimes and teach them sustainable living. And of course, some of their proceeds give back to local, I guess, charities or local spots in the area that are supporting that same cause. So in supporting them, you're also supporting a bigger vision. But Lighthouse is located off of Lee Drive in kind of a strip retail center really close to LSU's campus. Inside is, for lack of a better word, just super peaceful. They've decorated it well, they've designed it well, they went with the white shiplap vibe. They also have a really cool like sliding glass door that when the weather cooperates, they open it up to let a lot more light in. And what's really cool is because of their success and growing business, they've expanded to the space next door where they have more seating, but they also are able to roast coffee, which is awesome. And again, if I'm gonna paint a whole picture and come up with a con, I will say being close to LSU's campus has made Lighthouse a really popular study spot. So during school, it's gonna be sometimes a little crowded with college students studying. So if you don't like teeny boppers or them youngins, you may wanna stay away during school. But that being said, it is a really great study spot if you wanna go and get some work done and be productive. They also have some seasonal drinks with their lattes. So when I'm not getting a macchiato, sometimes they have a Fruity Pebbles latte, which is really cool, and you should get that. So there you have it, my personal top 3. I wanna hear in the comments what you think, if you disagree, if you agree. But as promised, I do want to give some honorable mentions because like I said, there's more than just 3 in the greater Baton Rouge area. French Truck Coffee, located off of Government Street in Mid-City. City Roots, which is also located off of Government in the Electric Depot, which is a really cool spot. And while I've never been, I've heard really great things about Coffee Joy, which is located on Perkins and Acadian. Like I said earlier, if you're curious about the real estate around these different coffee shops, there's gonna be some links below in the description and check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. If you wanna meet up at some of these coffee shops to chat about the process of buying or selling, I'd love to do that with you, or at least have a phone call nonetheless. But go support these coffee shops, support Baton Rouge, and I'll see you next time.